Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. This is Leah Rowling. I am so grateful that you're here. Whether you're walking the dog or folding laundry or finally letting yourself breathe between meetings, I'm glad you found me here. I'm glad you pressed play on this episode. This episode really is for anyone who's ever had this quiet, nagging question rumble through their mind. And it is this. Is this it? Is this all that life is and all that it's supposed to be, right? You've checked the boxes. You've got the degree, you've got the job, you've got the family, maybe even the dream house, right? But yet something feels off. You feel like your life should be making you happy, but it's falling short. You want more, and instead of gratitude, you feel guilty. Instead of motivation, you feel stuck. And here's the truth that I want to offer to you today. 1, you're not alone. I have coached clients through this. I've coached myself through this. This is the heartbeat, really, of the work that I do. But the paradox of success keeps us questioning this, right? The brain that helped you achieve, right, is the same brain that keeps you from enjoying it. Success, that is, right? The same brain that helped you achieve the success is the same brain that keeps you from enjoying it. And what I want to offer is, what is success if it's not enjoyed? What's the point of checking off boxes and accumulating trophies and certifications if there's no joy? And so I want to show you today why understanding the paradox of success, why it matters, and what you can do about it. So let's start with the ache, right, that you can't name. This sense of feeling and being busy but bored. Full, right, by way of schedules, by way of priorities, by way of to-do lists, but unfulfilled. Successful, but somehow still seeking, still thinking that it's going to be better then, when. It's going to be better if, but not better now. And if that's you, this is great news, okay? Because it's not because you're entitled. It's not because you're ungrateful. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because of any other labels. It's not because you lack motivation, okay? It's because your brain was wired for survival, not satisfaction. No one has taught you, most likely, how to manage your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses. That is why I love this show, because I want to teach you, to support you in navigating the things that most people don't, right? We're not taught in any sort of school how to think. We're not taught how to feel. We're not taught about results science. We're not taught about any of that, right? School taught you algebra, not emotional mastery. We learned how to read books, but not how to read ourselves. So when you are overwhelmed, when you are buffering, over scrolling, over shopping, or just over it altogether, okay, that's not weakness. That's wiring, our hardwiring. So let's dig in just a little bit about why we have that wiring and how exactly that wiring works and why, friends, beautiful friends, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you were born into humanity as a human, okay? It is your opportunity. It is your opportunity when you understand this paradox of success, when you understand that it isn't that your wiring doesn't care about your life satisfaction. It cares about your survival. So we have to understand what I like to talk and train around, that is the motivational triad. Okay, I'm going to make it as super simple as possible for you. This is not a neuroscience lesson, but just a high scope philosophy on the way that our brains work, the operating system that is our brain. Your brain is operating under what I like to call an ancient algorithm called this motivational triad. Here's how it works. Your brain seeks pleasure, it avoids pain, and it wants to conserve energy. These are the three things that your survival brain is hardwired to do. Seek pleasure, avoid pain, conserve energy. And this trio, right, kept our ancestors alive. It allowed for the evolution of our humanity. But in this day and age, okay, the very thing that kept you alive is the thing that's keeping you from fully living satisfied, living fulfilled, living in enjoyment of the very successes that you have been pursuing, that you have been making progress towards. Okay, so let's break this down real quick. So seeking pleasure. Okay, if you think about it in ancient times, right, your ancestors, right, they gathered berries, they fought for warmth. Think about caves and fires, right, and connection really with communities to survive. The instinct of that seeking pleasure shows up in a little bit more subtle ways today. It looks like doom scrolling on Instagram. It looks like one more glass of wine after a long day. It looks like buying something that you don't necessarily need for that quick dopamine hit, right? That absolves you of frustration or stress or overwhelm or whatever it is that you're trying to buffer for. It looks like chasing likes and validation and pleasing, right? Instead of your deep fulfillment. Okay. And what I like to remind my brain of, and that of my client's brain, is we are no longer needing to forage for food and forage for warmth and forage for connection, right? But we're foraging, right, for feeling good in a world overflowing with artificial pleasure. There are 1,000 different ways to trick your brain into thinking that it's happy when it's actually not. And my job, right, as a coach, and my job as first and foremost my coach, is to recognize what is truly seeking fulfillment of self versus buffering my own discomfort. So we have to know that first part of the motivational triad. The second part is to avoid pain, right? Makes sense. Historically, avoiding pain kept you alive, right? Kept you from predators, kept you from poisonous food, kept you from what I'm going to call physical danger, right? But now it's not the physical danger that most of us are running from. Most of us are free from running from bears, okay? Now we avoid emotional danger, right? The amygdala in the brain doesn't know the difference between physical danger and emotional danger, okay? So what does that look like in now times, in modern times? What that looks like is we don't have the quote unquote hard conversation because we don't want to, one, discomfort anyone else in the hearing of this said conversation. And we don't want to put ourselves in harm's way of looking like the quote unquote bad guy from bringing forward, right? We just lack the art of having these hard conversations. So we label them hard, we label them difficult, and so therefore they are, okay? We avoid emotional pain by staying in a safe job, in a safe relationship, in the safe version of you to avoid any sort of discomfort because we're not familiar with it. We've not allowed ourselves practice in discomfort. It looks like us numbing ourselves with food, with work, with drinks, with just busyness, right? So that we can overdo in all of the ways to underfeel in the way that matters the most. It looks like fearing rejection, right? More than our own desire for growth. It looks like failing ahead of time, as the verbiage says, okay? That's that, but we have to know that we have a very good reason for doing that. Because our ancient brain, the operating system that has kept us alive, is the very thing that is keeping us from truly living. And when we know that, we can begin to question all of these things, okay? We can begin to question, am I fearing rejection here? Am I choosing to stay small over growth, right? And so what we've done here is we've traded like tigers and bears for triggers, and your brain still can't tell the difference. But just like in everything that we teach here, awareness is the gateway to all of that transformation and all of that change. And once you're now aware of it, you get to decide what you want to do with it. And as you know, I don't care what you choose to decide. I choose you. I choose the capacity of you. I choose the potential of you. And if that is true, then we're going to have to question all of it. We have to question this triad that's kept us alive. And we have to really begin to ask ourselves, are we in danger? Are we in danger? And what are we in danger of? Because I think most of us aren't in danger because we're living the biggest life possible. We're in danger of not living it at all. So that was the first two. Avoid pain, right? And seek pleasure. The third one that we have to be onto ourselves around is conservation of energy, okay? In primitive world, okay, this was essential, okay? Don't use energy unless you have to, okay? There wasn't massive amounts of resources in food, so you had to conserve energy. Today, that conservation of energy looks like procrastination. It looks like you telling yourself later when you mean never. It looks like delaying decisions because they feel too complicated. They feel too heavy because we might be embarrassed by the decision that we make not being right. We repeat old routines because we are in the habit of repeating. It's more familiar. It takes less energy. It takes less prefrontal cortex when we just can put it on autopilot and rinse and repeat the same day over and over again. It's why we don't like change. It's why we resist any sort of invitation that looks different than what we did the day before. The hardest part about any sort of transformation, any sort of habit change really is just to not do the thing you did the day before. And this is why. It's not because you're lazy, right? It's because actually you're efficient. You're very efficient, but that efficiency is keeping you in patterns that no longer serve you. Okay. So what happens then when this survival system meets your success? Okay. That's where we get to go to next. So let's name the game that's really happening here. Okay. You've built what I like to call an ordinary life. Okay. It's good enough. It's good enough. You've checked the boxes. You feel safe. There's comfort. There's a level of familiarity to it, even if you don't love it. But what I believe the restlessness is, what I believe that deep down urge for more is you have built, you have explored what an ordinary life looks like, and you deserve extraordinary, right? And here's where the quiet suffering creeps in, okay? You're unhappy, but you're ashamed to admit it because life looks good outside in. You're procrastinating your dreams, promising someday, but someday isn't showing up, and you've lost belief in you to have someday be this day. It looks like you buffering, over consuming, overworking, over pleasuring, just to avoid what it is that you refuse to feel. And all of that makes you wonder, what's wrong with me? And the answer to that is nothing. Nothing. There is nothing wrong with you, but there is something wrong with the way that your brain is currently running. I like to say sometimes ruining your life. It's still trying to survive. But what you really want is to thrive. Surviving allows you to lead an ordinary life. If you're listening to this and you're shaking your head and you're like, yes, it's because you deserve an extraordinary one, right? What you really want to do is thrive and see what you're capable of and tap into a potential that you blow your own mind with, okay? That is what is available to you, but that is what you've not been able to access because your primitive brain's operating system has been running the show, okay? As a recap, that primitive operating system has you seek pleasure, so you stay busy instead of adding some stillness for clarity. You avoid pain, so you stay in the fine instead of being more fierce, more courageous. You conserve energy, so you stay stuck instead of in action, instead of with ambition. This is the problem with ordinary, okay? It's not a lack of success. It's a lack of access. Access to the prefrontal cortex, access to the version of you that's ready to rise, that's ready to take risks, that's ready to be courageous. It's the access to thoughts that don't just keep fear recycling. It's the access to habits that are designed for more and not designed for efficiency. And when you know that, friends, that's where the shift happens, right? You don't need to fight your brain. You don't. You need to train it. You need to train it. And this is where the tools that I coach and that I teach around come in, right? And it's really based on a very simple set of human truths. It's based on a simple framework that is rooted in behavioral change science, that's rooted in neuropsychology. And that is this: your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings are not created by anything outside of you. We have to know this is true, right? You're not being emotionally thrown around by your life, by the people in it, by your siblings, by your spouses, by your kids, by your team members. You're being thrown around by your mind. Good to know. Good to know. Your feelings drive and fuel everything that you do and or everything that you don't do. This is also very important to know. Your feelings fuel your action. And we've taught it all wrong. And your actions then, obviously, what you do or don't do, create your results. So when you learn to observe your thoughts without judgment, you stop living a life on default in autopilot. You start to become more conscious of what it is that you're thinking, how it is that those thoughts create feelings for you, how those feelings show up in what you do or don't do, and ultimately the results that you want. So if you parlay this all back, your thoughts are the reason that you have the results in your life that you want, or that you don't have the results that you want in your life. Right? And when you know that, you become so wickedly powerful in your life. You become empowered, a free agent to actually experience the life that you want to live outside of any expectation that anyone would have of you. And you begin to overwrite that primitive brain of yours that is just fine with you living an ordinary life. It doesn't want you to live an extraordinary life. Your brain doesn't care about the results that you want in your life. It cares that you live another day. And as long as you stay with the operating system of seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and conserving energy, you will live another day. What I want to challenge you in is that that's not living. That's merely surviving. So when you have access to your thoughts, you have access to the feelings that fuel your behavior, you have access to the results that you're actually trying to create in your life, you stop waiting for life to feel better. And you start feeling better today by way of your mind. This is not toxic positivity. I'm not here offering you and inviting you in to think positive thoughts about something that you don't necessarily want to think positive thoughts about, but I want you to think about it consciously. This is what I teach inside all of my programs. It's not raw motivation. It's rewiring. It's personal power. It's self-leadership, and it works. It works because now that you understand your wiring, right? And you have a framework for which to change it, possibility is available, right? Because here's what I want you to consider. If you've been listening to me this whole time, okay, I'm guessing that you want more in your life. Not because you're greedy, but because you're ready to grow, because you're ready to evolve, because you're ready to see what you're capable of, because you're sick and tired of navigating around other people's expectations about what you are currently able to do. Don't care. I don't care what you're able to do. What I care about is the capacity of who you can become. We talked a lot about this capacity in the episode before this one, okay? But if your life feels fine, but not fulfilled, that is not a signal to shrink. It's an invitation to rise up. That extraordinary life that you're aching for, it's not out there. It's not out there. Stop looking for it out there. It's in here. It's in you. It's inside your thoughts. It's inside your feelings. It's inside your beliefs. It's inside your willingness to feel discomfort on purpose. It's in you to be willing to change and to shake things up and to do things just a little bit differently, just to see the capacity that is in you to explore the evolution that is becoming of you, okay? Because what got you here, what got you to this very moment in time, wherever you are right now, on this trail, in your kitchen, making dinner, folding clothes, whatever, okay? What got you here, the habits, the thoughts, the buffers, the hustle that built your ordinary life, won't get you there. It won't get you to extraordinary. To create something more, you have to become someone more. Okay? And again, that begins with this awareness. This awareness that your primitive brain, your operating system, is here to keep you in survival. When you want more, it's because you haven't learned how to override your operating system. Okay? It begins with a willingness to choose discomfort when that is the currency for the results that you deserve. We've got to bargain with our future. We've got to trade some discomfort for our now self to hook up our future self. And more times than not, we choose comfort in the now moment because we forget about our future self. We forget to hook our future up with some wins, which will require our now suffering a little bit. It will require some extra work on our behalf. It will require us thinking in new ways, feeling in new ways, behaving in new ways. Okay? It will require brave, courageous, uncomfortable decisions. So if you're here and you know you're procrastinating on your dreams, right? Just know that's operating system. There's nothing wrong with you. When you're buffering your emotions, or if you're just silently wondering, is this all there is? I want you to know, one, as I mentioned, you're not alone. Okay. I want you to know that you don't need more motivation. You need a manual for your mind. Okay. And that's what this podcast is. That's what we do here on this show. This is what we do in my programs, because ordinary for you was never the goal. Was never the goal. I believe that of the 7 billion people on the planet, you are, and you, my beautiful friend, deserve extraordinary. You're built for it. I promise you, you're capable of it. And the better that we get at exploring and sitting in the discomfort of our life, the bigger our life gets. The more familiar, the more practiced we get at chasing for our goals, chasing for the results, chasing for this extraordinary life, knowing that there are going to be times that we are going to suck at it, we are going to fail at it, and we're going to get up and we're going to keep trying it again, because that is what is required to live an extraordinary, a truly fulfilling life. So if this episode in any way moved you, sparked you, excited you, share it. Share it with someone who might be quietly asking the same question, which is most of us. Okay. And if you're ready to stop buffering and start building, tune back to the show for tools, for support. Check out our website, right? It's in the show notes. Find a way. Make one small change today that's going to remind you that you are the creator, that you are the designer of this one beautiful life, that you get to live as big and as bold as you choose. Until next time, my beautiful friends, have an amazing, courageous, and discomfortable day. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.